Hey, BassGeek here, and today I'm going to share with you some of the coolest things that I could find at the Raleigh Fishing Expo. Now, this doesn't mean I found all of the best, but man, I found some cool ones. This is why you go to the show. Now, geeks, there's some stuff that you're going to find. It's going to be super innovative. It's going to be super different. It's going to be something really, really special. Now, forgive me, it's the middle of show season. I'm not sick, but I generally talk so much that I lose my voice. Hence, here we are. Voice gone. Now, what really stinks about this is that after I film this video, we're going to the East Tennessee show for 4 days. These other expos, we were only at them for 2. So, it's show season. Forgive me. We're putting out the best content we can put out while traveling so much right now. But it's absolutely a ball to get to meet every single one of you, the geeks out there who support us and drive us to do what we do. Thank you so much. I've heard so many times from so many different people that we help out so much, we've done so much, they've learned so much from the channel, and I'll have to say that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. It's why I want to do what I do, and it's why we want to do what we do full time. So help us join that 100% watch squad, or go get you some BassGeek gear over on the BassGeek website, bassgeekfishing.com. Got some cool stuff over there. Got some big plans for the website, but all in due time. Now, let's get into what we got here for. Let's jump right into what we picked up. So as soon as we got there, we walked in and we run into a gentleman who hand makes his own baits. And he actually blessed us with a couple of them. These baits are hand carved, hand painted, lipless baits. Check these out. Now, this is a smaller one. These things are heavy. I can tell you that right now. This is a 1/2 ounce. Great profile, great color on that. I know it's not going to come through on the video, but it is really incredible. But they don't have rattles in them, so they're silent, and they're pretty impressive. This is a secret, a North Carolina secret. Now, this one I'm about to show you, there might be some people get ticked off at me. This one is a bigger one. It's much heavier. I don't remember the exact size. I want to say this is like a 3/4 or maybe even a 1 ounce. It's big, but I've heard that this is what the big ones eat down there. I love this size. I love the detail in the bait. Really great looking bait. Again, Suicide Shad. We'll put links in the description to all these companies. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, by the way. These are all companies that we just found some really cool stuff. Next up, we run into a fellow YouTuber. Now, he's got a smaller channel. He does a lot of redfish, red drum fishing, which is one of my bucket list fish to catch. And he gave me one of these. Now, this is kind of a topwater bait, a good little walking bait. I like this color a lot. It's got some hard knock rattles in it. It's got those saltwater hooks. Of course, you can see, might change those out, but we'll see how that affects the bait first off. But he hand makes these, hand paints these. Again, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel down in the description. Really, really like that bait. This is one of the things that I love about coming to these shows, is being able to meet these awesome people, these awesome handmade bait makers out in the world. Now, sometimes it's not necessarily finding these outliers, but it's finding some companies that make some of the baits that you already love to use at good prices, and you get to try out some new bait making companies. Some of the things that I've really wanted to get into a little bit more this year is throwing a stupid tube, especially for those smallmouth when they start moving up, or when we're scoping and they're a little bit deeper. So we run into Blue Rock and we picked up some stupid tube hooks from them. This one is a 3/0 and it's a 1/4, and this one's a 3/8, which is big for us. So we went ahead and picked up some of their tubes. These are the 3.5 inch, 4 inch tubes. you're kind of, you'll see, you're kind of standard too. But this is a green pumpkin purple. Good color for those smallmouth in clear water. So now this company is from Ohio, by the way. Again, Blue Rock Custom Tackle, you'll see here. And this is like a green pumpkin. Looks like it's got some gold and maybe a little bit of red, really fine flake in it. You can't go wrong with some green pumpkin black. Gotta have a little bit of that Alabama crawl. You know what I like about these tubes? You can tell they're hand poured, hand molds. They've really got, you know, kind of some naughty, you know, imperfection, perfection to them. And they look different. Not smooth and ultra glossy. And that's honestly why I got drawn to them. Now, these on the other hand, a little bit different. What I like about these is they're small, they're soft, and they're clear. Here's a small paddle tail swim bait by them. This looks like maybe a little bit of a sexy shad. It's got some blue, some gold, copper in it maybe. Check that out. A little bit of a blue hue to the plastic. We'll be putting those to use this spring. So we got a couple 3-packs of these. Here's another one. It's got some blue and some purple in it. Real fine, really fine glitter in it like that. That'll be a smallmouth killer. And then you always gotta have one with a little bit of gold in it. So some really good looking little finesse baits right there that I think will play well when the smallmouth tie the feed bag on. Now you geeks gonna think I'm crazy, but I like to fish super deep for some of those smallmouth this winter because that's just where the big ones live. Check that out. Now this is from Big Daddy Baits, and those are some Big Daddy heads right there. I don't know what they call them. I don't even know if they've got this size on their website. We'll see, but they got big hooks. They're probably being used mostly for striper, but big smallmouth with a good 5-inch, you know, bait on them, like a rolling strolling head. Those right there could be really interesting. Another reason why I like to go to these shows are the guys that hand paint baits. And this is a Reactions Innovation. It is a Vixen, but look at the paint job on this bait. This, on those choppy days, I believe this is going to be a clear water killer. That thing is going to be money when there's a little bit of chop on the water. Now, why did I say when there's a little bit of chop on the water? The head is a big deal when it comes to topwater baits and how you want to fish them. Trust me on this. At the end of this video, I will leave a video that explains what the right topwater is in the right conditions. Oh, and by the way, those are from Folks. These all that I'm getting ready to show you are from Folks Custom Lures. One of my favorite painters. They make some really cool stuff. Here's another example. This is a nice little Vision 110 style body, but check that out, good and clear. Got that blue back on it. Really great looking little bait. This color I like a lot. There's a little bit of purple. I don't know if it'll pick up on the video, but there's a little purple, kind of a pearl on the side. Got that good greenish gold back and just a touch of chartreuse on the belly. I really believe this is going to be a killer for those smallmouth this year. Now, also from Folks, I picked up some swimmers, a couple of little soft plastics that they use, and I'm going to show you another unique head we may just do a video on. So I haven't got the chance to go test these. They sent me some earlier. I just have been so busy that I hadn't got to check these out. But I picked up some at the show in a couple of different sizes. And so from my understanding, these heads have the same sort of walk the dog action that the BR fish and the BR head has. So we'll give these a definite try. I like that design, and we will put these to work without a doubt. I picked them up in a few different sizes. This is the 3/0 1/4. I picked them up in a 3/8 4/0, and then a nice little finesse 1/8 2/0. So some good heads right here. Hopefully we're going to put them to work. Now something that they had in their box was the Drift Fly 4.0. Had a little color I hadn't seen before, so I figured I'd pick that up, and we'll definitely be doing a video on these. These are some really interesting baits from Jackal if you guys haven't seen these. All right, geeks, so before we go on, I want to tell you about an app, the Deep Dive app. Listen, my buddy Ben down in South Carolina turned me on to this app because of the wind maps that it has. And they just did a few weeks back, maybe a month back, a really good update so that you'll know how much wind, how rough the waves are going to be, even in the middle of the lake. It's really incredible some of the things it does. It'll tell you weather. It'll tell you barometric pressure. It gives you lunar cycles. It tells you what part of the lake it thinks is hottest. And it'll tell you what baits you need to start with if you've never fished that lake, even per species. Make sure you go check out the Deep Dive app. There's a free trial link in the description. Make sure you go check them out. Now, this is what I really go to shows to find. And it's really the truly innovative baits that are out on the market. We run into a company called Catch, and quickly did I become a big fan. These are tail spinners, and they are made of tungsten. So that's pretty incredible. This is a 1/4 ounce, and look how small that is. You want to talk about some spy baiting or tight lining these down a bank in the early spring, late winter. This is a great bait to do that. And that little 1/4, man, it's going to catch everything from the dinks to the toads. Next up, I've got a little heavier version. This is a 1/3 ounce in tungsten jack slap. And I cannot wait to get to put these into action. Looks like they've got some bigger sizes on here. I'm going to verify that before I tell you. But even the bigger sizes, especially where I'm at, could be money. Now, they've got one other thing. Well, they had several other things, but this is the one thing that really attracted me to their booth. That is this. Now, they told me that they used to make these out of balsa wood, but as demand has went up, they've had to change over to a more hard plastic bait. This is a Topwater. Now, I think they call it the Viva. That's what's on the back of it. You know, to be honest with you, I never asked. But this is a Topwater bait. And what was explained to me is that the way it sits in the water is like this. So when you jerk it, it kind of does this little dive through the water and then sets like that. So when they come up, they're going to hit it as it just kind of floats head up there. So it's going to be a really interesting, really small profile topwater bait that I cannot wait to put to use. Now this one, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. Again, it's got that little sort of translucent pearl purple essence on the side, that sort of greenish gold back to it. Got to get my clear watercolors, because I got a couple of lakes where I think these are going to pay off big time next year. Then we've always got to have one with a little bit of blue to it. Again, translucent, got the kind of blue pearl essence, and it goes to a blue-green type of back. Good looking little bait. Like I said, I don't know if you'll see that, but Viva. So we'll see. Now here again is another reason why you go to your shows. Everybody says, innovation comes from the big companies, not the little companies. Well, I'm about to prove you wrong. I've heard from a lot of bait makers this year, or about a lot of bait makers this year, talking about how the forward-facing sonar has hurt either the hard bait market or has hurt you know, some of the traditional baits, worms, crankbaits, that sort of stuff. To me, listen, I love my old companies, the companies that have been around for a long time, family companies. But at the same time, business is about leading. It's about being the innovator. It's not about following. Yeah, you're not always going to be the innovator of a new product, but you need to make sure you see and understand what's coming down the pipeline. Now, I understand that can be hard for a smaller bait company, but at the same time, what I'm finding is a lot of smaller bait companies are coming out with more innovative baits when it comes to things we do with forward-facing sonar than a lot of your big ones. And this has to be one of those deals. So something that I found last year, and I'll be honest with you, I have not got to put it to use the way I wanted to, but I don't think I had the vision for this bait that I have now. And a couple different things that I absolutely want to try with this bait, especially will be in the spring, whether it be open water fishing or whether it be fishing over brush piles up shallower or shallower rock piles or points. And he's come out, and I forgot, I meant to go by the booth he was at Richmond too, and I meant to buy some of the deep divers he now has. But the big one right now has got to be this. Now this, you've seen a larger version of this on my show last year, and it's called the Nasty. Well, this is a very much smaller version of this bait. Now this you would think is a very small jerk bait or crankbait, and you'd be right. But the deal about this bait is the bill is squared off in the front, so it sinks and stands on the bill on bottom. What I have planned for these is a lot during the summertime when those bass are out there, or in the spring, because this is already weighted to sink. We're going to use it as a sinking jerkbait around open water smallmouth. Perfect profile for those fish. In the summer, when those bass are feeding on shad fry, those little bitty tiny bass, that is a perfect profile. Incredible innovation in these baits. And this goes to show you, you should go to your expo, look, find these things, find the companies that have the weirdest looking thing and go give them a try. Because a lot of times, those are going to be your money makers. Now, this is shimmering shad. This is rock bass. This is electric. This is the Trickster. Next up, and something that I was excited about with them, were these. Now they slowed the rate of fall because they only dive 2 to 5 feet. And that is a square bill version of this. Now, immediately my mind went to brush piles or shallow rock piles or bed fishing. Just stopping this bait and letting it stand there on its end. Holy cow, you talk about a devastating little bait. This is it. Now this is called sunfish, and what a natural color that is. This is called Sexy. Right here you go, on some rocks in the spring, just ticking it along the bottom. This is going to be money, crawdad. Next up, another great super natural color. And I'm going to use this one a lot. Especially a certain time of year, I'm going to use this. Bluegill. Can you imagine using this on those bluegill, working it right off the edge of the beds, right where those bass are sitting out there in that deeper water? Golly, you talk about getting killed. Now, he did throw in case you're worried about them getting hung up, a nasty knocker for me. Trust me, you're going to get them back with that. Okay, geeks, so I know some of you already know this, but the other day I bought a drop with a bull shad that's called the Vjoint, and you can see it has very little movement side to side. Now the reason you want that is because this is also what I call a wide glide bait. It really goes side to side in these big, long, wide. So it covers things like grass flats or flats very, very well. It's this big, wide, meandering bait. Great color. Love this sort of gizzard shad-esque color in it. Good paint job, good tail. Love the fact that you can pull this pin and you can twist one way or another if it's not running, if it's running like this, one way or the other. Or you can pull this pin and put a little weight in here. This is a slow sink to get it sinking a little bit faster. So love all the modifications you can do on these, and we'll do a video specifically on these two baits. But I bought some the other day, and I think they retail for, let's just say, not cheap. And, you know, I want to say around that $200 mark. And so I bought one on a drop online. Again, another great thing about going to the show, you don't have to wait for a drop and hope you get in time. My first cast, I didn't pay any attention. My line was wrapped around my bait holder and snapped. She's at the bottom of the lake. The lake owns her now. We're going to try and get her back, but just went ahead and bought another because I really want to try these out. This is the 9-inch. It's great bait, man. It's great search bait. Really like it. I'll show you the difference between the bend in this and the bend in the next one. Now this is the 9-inch trick shad, or what I traditionally call cover glide, or a chop bait, as they're kind of being called or referred to now. And you can see the difference in the tails. So this bait has a nice tight turn to it, glide. And really what that's great for, I love to take this down bluff walls, around brush piles, docks, anything where you need it to just have that very quick turn. Oh, the hooks are sharp. Very quick turn, almost stay in place style bait. I got it in my favorite color again, sort of that gizzard shad sort of paint job, very flat. I don't like the shiny paint jobs. You know, I like them a little beat up. I think they look a little more natural, and I think that's going to do it. This is also a 9-inch. Definitely going to put these to use this year, in the spring and in the fall. So shout out to Bull Shad. We're going to do some videos really talking about the difference in these two baits, when I use them, and how I use them, how to trick them out. So this is why you go out to the show, support these local bait makers. Plus, you can get the stuff that you want at much better deals at the shows from some of the outfitters that are out there who are selling these baits. Great prices, great people. Love to meet all you geeks out there that support the show. We appreciate everybody helping us out and getting to find some real innovative stuff from some small bait companies. Now, all that being said, again, everything will be in the description below, so you can find the links to these small companies. Otherwise, make sure you go check out this video right here. This video is going to talk to you about the differences in topwater walking baits. Questions, comments in the comment section below. You geeks know I love to talk fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you get the notifications when these videos come out. As always, be part of the 100% Watch Squad, and you geeks rock.